Former President Donald Trump has been in court a lot lately.
Hush money payments.
Illegally possessed classified government materials.
His attempt to overturn the results of an election.
We have seen nothing approaching this before with respect to these indictments of Donald Trump.
Trump now faces 4 trials, from 2 federal indictments and 2 state indictments. Here's how Trump's legal team could mount their defense and how these charges could influence his 2024 bid and those of his rivals.
A Fulton County grand jury returned a true bill of indictment.
The Georgia indictment charges the former president with 13 felonies for trying to undo his 2020 election defeat in the state. The probe hinges on a key piece of evidence, a recorded phone call then-President Trump made to Georgia's top elections official, Brad Raffensperger.
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have.
Trump has said that he did nothing wrong, and the call was, quote, absolutely perfect.
I think that the strategy here, sort of the umbrella strategy, that it's a quote-unquote witch hunt on multiple fronts to stop him from regaining the presidency. That's not really a legal defense. That's more of a public relations defense. But, he obviously has people who are buying into that theory.
One reason the Georgia indictment is different from the federal cases is that even if Trump were reelected as president,
let's presume he's convicted in Georgia. Federal government president has no pardon power over those state convictions.
In Georgia, the State Board of Pardons and Paroles doesn't consider pardon applications until 5 years after an individual has completed their sentence.
So he could be conceivably, under the most outlandish scenario, sitting in prison and still being the president of the United States.
Trump's alleged conduct in Georgia also plays a role in a federal case, accusing him of trying to subvert the will of American voters. On August 1st, Trump was indicted by a federal grand jury in Washington. The indictment, brought by special counsel Jack Smith, charges the former president with 4 criminal counts for his actions that culminated in the January 6th Capitol riot.
We want Trump! We want Trump! We want Trump!
The January 6th case is clearly the most significant case. It's the most comprehensive.
The attack on our nation's capital on January 6th, 2021, was an unprecedented assault on the seat of American democracy.
Trump has a right to challenge the election results. Trump has a right to speak out, even lie about the election results. Trump took his right and went to court and lost every single significant case. That should have been the end of it.
We fight like hell, and if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
For the defense, they've already laid some seeds for their approach. One is to delay the case as long as possible. The second thing is to allege that he was merely exercising his First Amendment rights. And I think, as in most criminal defense cases, and I've been a criminal defense lawyer for a number of years myself, you try to distract the jury from the evidence by raising things like the First Amendment and other issues, which I think they'll do.
In a social media post, Trump said the case was a pathetic attempt by the Justice Department to interfere with the 2024 presidential election.
When you look at what's happening, this is a persecution of a political opponent. This was never supposed to happen in America.
In June, Trump was indicted for his handling of classified documents, marking the first time in history that the federal government has brought charges against a former president. The case, also led by Jack Smith, alleges that Trump deliberately withheld sensitive documents at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida, even after prosecutors requested their return last year.
This is really an obstruction of justice case. This is not a possession of classified documents case. Yes, you could have left office and accidentally or on purpose taken some documents that you shouldn't have. But once you know you're supposed to give them back, you can't then lie about it and hide them and engage in various schemes enlisting other people to help you do that.
Trump has complained that he is being treated unfairly since classified documents have been found in the possession of other high-ranking politicians.
They've tried to create a false equivalency between Trump's handling of documents and the handling of documents by others. Okay, well, Mike Pence and Joe Biden had classified documents, which they immediately returned as soon as they were alerted.
Smith added new charges on July 27th, alleging that Trump and a maintenance worker sought to delete surveillance footage from Mar-a-Lago so it couldn't be turned over to a grand jury. Trump has said he's an innocent man. The April indictment of Donald Trump for allegedly falsifying business records marked the first time in U.S. history that a former president has faced criminal charges.
The Manhattan DA's case is a case that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the fact that Trump was president of the United States. It has to do with the fact that he apparently paid hush money to a pornography actress and tried to conceal it, which, at the end of the day, he's not the first person, nor will he be the last, who does something like that.
Trump has pleaded not guilty in the New York, Florida, and Washington, D.C. cases. It remains to be seen how each trial will play out in court.
Trump's team, I think that their strategy has got to be to delay as long as possible. The other strategy that they have is to try this case in the court of public opinion as opposed to in the courtroom, where they can make these arguments that aren't really legal defenses, like Trump believed that he actually won. And I think that's going to be hard for them to convince a jury unanimously that was the case here.
Even if the defense doesn't convince the entire jury, a hung jury could still be considered a win for Trump.
All that Trump has to achieve in any of these cases is one juror who's voting against the other jurors. So 11-1 for him would be a victory. And then the prosecutor would have to decide, do I want to retry this case?
While recent polls show Trump has a commanding lead over the rest of the Republican field, his legal troubles have taken a chunk out of his campaign finances. Recent data show that his main political committee, Save America, shelled out more than $20 million on legal-related expenses so far this year. But the indictments have also helped Trump fundraise. In the days following the indictments, his campaign contributions increased by millions.
The critical thing will be the trials and whether he is convicted. And the conventional wisdom is, this may help him, his base will unite behind him. They've softened a bit. Yes, we still love Trump, but do we really want to go through all of this again, or do we want to look forward?
Trump may also have to navigate attending various court dates while he's campaigning.
It's possible he could have 4 trials before the November election, each of which could take many weeks. In other words, during the prime campaign season, he could be tied down in court.
And as for his political opponents on the 2024 campaign trail,
if DeSantis and Nikki Haley and Tim Scott and others hope to bring down Trump, they have to go after him. Kind of what they've done so far, tiptoeing around these incredibly serious charges against Donald Trump, is going to do absolutely nothing for them.